And
Welcome back to Dr. Walls and Friends. We are here with SOKE Michael DePASQUALE. How are you doing today?
good, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So I'm very excited to still be here at the World Karate Union. And you have such a long history in martial arts.
Well, I was raised in the martial arts, basically. So my father, Michael DePasquale Sr., was a pioneer in the martial arts, brought the jiu-jitsu to the World's Fair in '64. '67, we made a movie, a short documentary on martial arts in America, and it was produced by Paramount Pictures, narrated by Chris Shankel.
Wow.
So he was pretty much an icon coming out of World War II, bringing it back to the United States. He was one of those people that was responsible for bringing martial arts to the United States after World War II. So it was natural for me and my brothers we had no alternative. So, we from the bottom of pretty much a PAL, down the cellar of the Bergenfield Police Department and going into the city and a lot of, I remember going to the city of 48th Street, I think it was, the Judo Twins when I was a kid growing up 8, 9, 10 years old, and my father was the one. I just fell in love with it, so I continued and started to produce a lot of different things with it.
Okay. All right. So now tell us some of the work that you're doing now.
Doing quite a bit, actually. I mean, I started writing. For some strange reason, I had the opportunity to write a book in '77 called Monarch Illustrated Guide to Jiu-Jitsu with Simon Schuster. Went on to write 6 books with them, and one was Martial Arts for Young Athletes. Second one was Women's Guide to Self-Defense.
Okay.
And continued from there. I started publishing magazines. I did Combat Karate, Ninja the Deadly Warrior with Warner distributing it, and then I ended up doing a magazine for many years, for about 12 years, called Karate International.
Would that be one that you
Yes,
have here?
that's one of the covers there, Karate International.
Right.
That was one of the magazines I had. And from there I was very fortunate because I was doing seminars around the world, and I also made movies in China. I made a movie in China called China Heat, Pain, Blood, which was a real thrill for me. And then I made a movie in Thailand with Billy Blanks called King of the Kickboxers.
Okay.
And then I went on to start producing an action film academy, which pretty much teaches people how to break into film business. And I had a lot of professionals, Art Camacho, Don the Dragon came. My main guys like Joe Hess and God rest his soul, Joe Bonacci and Keith Vitale, Keith Strandberg, who wrote No Retreat, No Surrender and produced a lot of other movies besides that. They were part of the team that I put together to do the Action Film Academy.
Okay.
And then we went on to help a lot of people get into the movie. A lot of people are very successful, pyro people. And then I produced my first feature film and starred in it called The Cutoff, which if you go on the site, thecutoffmovie.com, it's there. But Joe Lewis was in it, and Joe Hess, and all the guys that I used in action film. I used all my own people that we taught to be in the movie, and we did it Screen Gem Studios, where they made actually Ninja Turtles, and they made The Crow was made there, and we made it in the backlot. So it was pretty interesting. And from there, I did a lot of television in the 80s. I was the first one really in the East Coast to be on television doing martial arts. I did an anti-crime with my FUMO organization with Regis the third day he was on the air, and then went on to do 5 other Regis shows.
Okay.
So 3 with his Regis, on channel, I think it was 4. And then the other 3 were the Lifestyle, which was a Lifetime network.
Okay.
And then I also did the Attitude Show, 9 Broadcast Plaza, Saturday Morning Live with Bill Boggs. I was a regular on that. Started doing a tremendous amount of TV. But I did that because of my anti-crime. I started an anti-crime organization because my father was in law enforcement. I said to myself, okay, I know what I'm talking about. I've been around it all my life. My father taught it. So I started an organization called the FUMAS, it's Federation of United Martial Arts Crusade Against Crime and Drugs. Ended up with about 4,000 members as time went on. Through my magazine, I was able to because I had a magazine, and I had people doing programs all across the country. I'm now reinvigorating that because there's a need for it. I just did a bully program. It's my expertise primarily. This is one of my books I wrote the books 10, 15 years after Street by Safety for Women. I have the one called Street by Safety for Children. 2 DVDs I have DVDs go along with it on programs, but that's my main concern. Even though I'm into a lot of other things, my Action Film Academy is coming up in August. My martial art university I still do with I have an IFOJJ International Federation of Jiu-Jitsuans. My father started, I continued it. I just keep his legacy alive through that organization because it was close to his heart. I do. I know that Ed has been at my events, and he can tell you he's very successful, and a lot of great people, and we have a lot of fun. But my main focus now, primarily, is to continue the legacy of FUMA.
Okay.
Right now, I'm getting back into the group because I feel like I just did an anti-bullying program in Patterson with Tom Harris, who is letting him run with the ball a little bit because he's very educated, he's a smart guy. But I have a lot of people across the country I can get back into the groove and start doing these anti-bullying programs like we did for so many years. And the anti-rape programs, I mean, I've done so many of them, it's not funny. And it's something that, you know, whatever you want to consider an expert in, I enjoy doing it. You know, I still have a martial arts school, and I still have probably about 25 schools that teach my jiu-jitsu system.
Wow.
I do certification programs for my jiu-jitsu as well as anti-crime programs. And I can go on and on and on. I have an INF program, Immobilize, Neutralize, Fires, and it's a defensive tactics program for law enforcement. I've been very successful with that, teaching New York City Police Academy, the U.S. Marshals, FBI, Special Forces.
You also mentioned not only do you work with children and women, but also with people who have disabilities.
Absolutely. I've been doing that. I was one of the first ones ever to really have a program that dealt with teaching people with disabilities. That's why I was hired by the mayor of New York. Actually sponsored, the mayor's department of the mayor sponsored a program for the Independent Living Center in the Bronx on Gun Hill Road.
Okay.
And I did that program there, and in fact I was on CNBC. They came there and showed. I did about 5 or 6 TV shows with that, NBC and some of the others that came in and watched the program. But it's something that's not difficult to do if you can create a way for them to mentally and physically be able to understand what they need to do.
Yes.
Number one, to avoid situations just like yourself.
Yes.
It's not about how physical. As a last resort, I'll teach you what you can do physically without a problem. But it's also about looking at your environment. That's what this is in this book.
All right.
You look at where you park your car when you're going to and from a mall or
Yes.
to and from work. When you park in the parking lot, you don't walk next to close to buildings, you know, where someone can pull you into a vestibule. Quite common, and I think that people are lackadaisical or lethargic, and you need to be alert when you're walking the streets and you're going from one place to another. You know, when you have kids and you go shopping, you need to make sure that you don't stick your butt out the door. Put your stuff that you bought inside the car before you put your kids in the car.
Right.
Make sure you're looking around you.
Right.
And these are things that come along with the last resort of physically teaching people how to defend themselves, which is an expertise I've been doing all my life. But it doesn't start there. It starts with the awareness that you have to have of your surroundings, not walking into situations that potentially are deadly situations. That's something that's important to me.
Well, I'm hearing you, and I'm thinking about my mother always raised us to be preventative, because she would always say there's certain things that we don't have to experience if we just prevent it from the beginning.
Wise woman.
Yes.
Wise woman, because it's the same thing I was told all my life. Is you know what? You don't, and my father always told me, you don't need to follow a crowd. If you want to follow somebody and they go jump off George Washington Bridge, you're going to jump off the Jordan Bridge too. You need to be able to know what to prevent and have a mind of your own, and know that when you need. See, what frustrates me about women, and I hate to say this, is that you offer a program, and all of a sudden, they don't come. You know, for some strange reason, you'll get a handful of women, but you can tell this to everybody, and then when something happens,
They come.
yeah, they come and they complain about what happened. It's just like a child that is in a park, and all of a sudden, somebody comes up to him and shows him a picture of a dog with a dog chain. Says, "I lost my dog. Did you help me?" A kid's not going to say no to that, but it can be prevented if you teach that child something. And until the child is molested, or abducted, that's when the community calls to action. Shouldn't be that way.
Exactly.
It should be way before that. And when there's a program that's involved in teaching kids, young kids, how to avoid situations and teach them that people shouldn't be touching them. Just like when you see on television now what's going on with this case. That should have never happened.
Right.
But you know what? People let it go. Same thing with women. There's no reason why you can't. If I took you and taught you for 10 hours, let's say 6 weeks in programs, guarantee you when someone touches you, you're going to be able to defend yourself.
Exactly.
The problem is that women need to understand that, if it's offered to you, take it. Don't just sit there and say, well, I don't need it.
Right.
oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going out with my friends tonight. I'm not going to make class.
Right.
The idea is to be able to say, you know what, do you really understand the potentially dangerous situations there are in this country?
Yes.
And it's getting worse.
Yes.
And the thing you need to understand is if you're going to do something to teach your kids, then you know what, then you should learn to teach your kids. That's what this book is all about. It's not meant for the kids. I mean, I put this book together so that parents can read it, teach their kids, and then understand what they need to show their kids. Well, this is a woman's book, but the kids' book. Make sense?
Yes.
This is for the women.
Yes.
This is strictly for them. But the
there
children's
is a
book
children's book.
is meant to be read by the parents.
Gotcha.
Okay?
So it's
Cut
a
down your
family.
shrubs when you're, don't cut your shrubs in front of the doors or the windows that are at your basement so that people can crawl in your basement.
Right.
Make sure that your trees are cut so you can see your children in the back and in the front of the house. You need to have visual contact at all time with your kids. Make sure that safety is there and prevent things from happening when they don't have to happen.
Exactly. So, all right, people, so let's be very proactive is the word that I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Instead of reactive.
Proactive is the word, perfect word.
So now, how can people get in contact with you if they want to find out about how to purchase the books, if they want to find out about FUMA, and also if they want to find out about the
Seminars?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I do seminars all over. They want to find out about anything. They can go into actually DePASQUALE.com. I do 4 certifications. It's on there. I do a police defensive tactics certification. I do a safety certification for children and women. I also do a Fighting and Falling for Film certification, which we do my Action Film Academy in August. And then I also do a jiu-jitsu certification, which is, I've got about 28 schools now that are teaching my system of jiu-jitsu in their schools, and very successful. And some of them, a bunch of them are teaching the safety programs as well.
So they can find all this information out on your website?
At DePASQUALEJujitsu.com, but they go on the left side, I have my bio, I have all my other stuff on my online bio. They can reach me, 201-666-7100 if they're interested in having me come in or do anything, or me helping them or guiding them. I'll be glad to help anybody. I'll answer any questions. They're more than welcome to call me at any time. If they don't reach me, I'll call you back.
All right, you heard it here on Dr. Walls and Friends, and we'll be back shortly.